Hi guys, and welcome back. I'm in Luton Hoo, which is in Luton, north of London, by about 45 minutes on the train. And it's a very old building. And specifically, I want to talk to you today about the future of blockchain projects and where they're going and what you should be interested in. And I thought, what better place to do it than something that has a significant amount of history behind it. So without further ado, let's get started. But first, like and subscribe on YouTube, or wait until the end and then still like and subscribe. That'd be most appreciated. It lets everyone else know that this is an interesting video and something they should be watching as well. Much appreciated. So let's talk about the future of blockchain projects. Today we're talking about which genres of the blockchain you should be interested in. And I should welcome those new viewers to this series on blockchain futures. Together we look at progress on blockchains weekly, which helps us figure out where exactly we should be investing our resources daily. When Bitcoin first came to light around 2009, there was only one thing to be interested in: Bitcoin. But things have changed, and they've seriously changed. When I started my university course sometime in the 90s, I remember a conversation with a chap called Nomad, and we were discussing how coding wouldn't be a thing in the next 5 years because of Visual Basic 6 and drag and drop development. How wrong could we have been? Every new technology spawns 1,000 new ways of working. Optimizations lead to complexity, which leads to developers and jobs. And as technology became more integrated into the enterprise, more roles appeared. Architects appeared, consultants, and even DevOps. And blockchain is no different. But because of its obvious huge impact to the world, stuff is moving more quickly than we would expect. Blockchain was originally the habitat of the math coder, but then engineers got in, then investors, and now the startup community. And as a result, everybody has a twist or a spin on the industry. Since 2009, blockchains have split into multiple areas of innovation, but they fit roughly into 5 main categories: cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, or stablecoins such as Tether; utility tokens, August, Seacoin; platforms, Ethereum, EOS, Cardano, Neo; security tokens like BitGrail shares, base bonds; crypto assets like CryptoKitties, Iron Gold, or Everledger. The real question is, though, where to put your time and effort in. And I can honestly say from personal experience that keeping up with all of these is a full-time effort. And I can only say a huge thank you to those that put up with me around this whole scenario. So, what to be interested in? Let's run through them one by one. Then we can discuss the future of a couple of these branches that are most promising in terms of innovation and therefore the future. So security tokens, as a first one, aren't innovations in themselves. They are replicas of what we do today, but without regulation and therefore repercussion and opportunity. This leads to huge gains, but also huge losses in equal measures, and I can honestly assure you that it is not the uninformed little guy that is making the money out of this stuff. But as a result, I can only imagine that these will become regulated very quickly, and instead I'll be buying blockchain-based shares instead of shares from a broker. That's okay, but nothing new. The law won't change. I think security tokens are only interesting to people that, well, at the moment, because of that gap, there's money to be made before the governments catch up, but catch up they will. Crypto assets are fascinating, but they are derivations of what already exists, or something stupid. CryptoKitties fall into the latter. I remember $140,000 for a digital certificate of a not real cat being paid once, and I think I'll pass on those. But for real assets, though, projects such as Everledger may reduce the cost of purchase and ownership in the long term, and there may be real social benefits too, like reducing fraud. But fundamentally, a blockchain diamond is no more valuable than a regular old Tiffany's diamond. There may be interesting use cases that spin from easy transference, though, something you can't predict right now, so it's worth watching. So my approach then is I may invest in the company, but I doubt that I will invest in the asset. because the asset won't reflect the change in price. Which brings me to a point I haven't thought about actually, but it's just come to me. I suppose I am more interested in the meta layer the blockchain brings, the new ways of connecting industries than digitizing old industries. It may be a bias of mine, so like always, you have to make your own mind up on these things. I suppose it's that mindset why I find cryptocurrencies so intriguing. I occasionally buy new issuances of coins that are pure currencies, but I do so for only one reason, and there are some serious flaws with how cryptocurrencies are technically run right now, and new tech will fix those flaws, and that's the reason I invest in them. We've heard about these flaws before, scalability and privacy. We can talk a little bit about this shortly. But on the negative side of cryptocurrencies though, they face significant issues. Bitcoin has not become a regular currency for a regular person in daily life, despite being 9 years old this year. So to the regular person, it's really like a betting shop than a value exchange, which is not where it's supposed to be. Socioeconomically, we have governments getting involved, as they should, to promote and regulate the implementations of this technology that may affect everybody's lives, whether that is allowing a cryptocurrency to be exchanged or building one of their own that we can actually rely on. Technically, they don't scale and they aren't private, these cryptocurrencies, but both of these are being worked on. Now, payment channels seem to be the answer to scalability. A payment channel is basically where two or more entities interact between each other without having to post individual transactions to the blockchain until you want to do so. A good example is imagine going to your coffee shop in the morning, and over a month you buy coffee and you pay at the end of the month. Well, payment channels are like that, but instead of paying at the month, you pay at the time. You just won't see the transactions until the end of the month. Apple do something similar on iTunes to roll up transactions so they don't have a large transaction charge for the smaller transactions like £1 or $1 for an app. Now, the payment channels, and specifically the Lightning Network on Bitcoin, are being rolled out right now, and they've taken their time because we've been waiting for technical upgrades, the Bitcoin segregated witness upgrade specifically, and now we're waiting for wallets to catch up and implement the technology, and it'll be at least 6 more months yet, I think. Now, from privacy point of view, Monero and Zcash are leading the charge. Monero uses a kind of tumbler, which is where transactions are thrown into a pot outside of the main blockchain, and the results are then written back onto the main chain. That way nobody knows who made transactions with who, they just know that a lot of people are involved in a lot of different transactions. But Zcash arguably is much more technically advanced and uses a new type of mathematics to prove that a transaction has taken place that requires ZK, zero knowledge. You should be watching both of these carefully. Now, for me, the most exciting area of innovation are platforms like Ethereum, EOS and Neo and Cardano. These promise to power the next generation of the internet, a way of communicating and transacting securely and without middlemen. Low transaction costs through minimum fraud and maximum automation. Platforms make it easier to build other solutions on. You don't have to build a new consensus mechanism every time you create a project. Also, when interacting between projects, a single platform makes it easy to share assets and a single currency, of course. They do have their issues though, common ones with cryptocurrency blockchains. So when we talk about these changes to the platform, we can kind of cover cryptocurrency and platforms in one foul swoop. Most platforms require a cryptocurrency. It's often used to regulate the use of the platform, like Ether is used to create, or Ether is gas for Ethereum network to run smart contracts. It's also used to raise funds through ICOs, which go to running the organizations behind the platform. These things aren't free. People have to get paid. Salaries have to be made. In some ways, the idea of payment channels are also being used to enable smart contracts. At the moment, there is significant effort expended on Ethereum to validate the output of a smart contract. But Plasma, which was announced in March, I think, connects smart contract participants together in a kind of peer-to-peer solution through the use of plasma coins. Now, talking previously of SegWit, the consensus mechanisms are being overhauled as well. Casper's move into proof of stake is in the pipeline, which means we'll see faster transactions at hopefully a lower cost kick in within the next 12 months. To put this into context, remember that Ethereum does roughly 10 times the transaction volume of Bitcoin currently, right today. Other platforms may get there sooner though. So Cardano, for example, has released its settlement layout running on proof of stake, an algorithm it calls Ouroboros. But anyway, it's now live, so go and check that out. The idea that one single platform or a mega chain is the way forward may not play out. There are significant efforts being made to allow chains to interact together. Think Ethereum talking to Bitcoin automatically, so Ethereum smart contracts can be powered by Bitcoin. That's not a thing, by the way. I don't know of anything that's happening around that, but you get the point anyway. Now, Cosmos and Polkadot promise to allow chains to interact through a kind of a blockchain that hovers over their blockchains, kind of tying lots of mini blockchains in one big blockchain. That may be a way forward. Another way forward is a communication protocol like Interledger, that's an ex-Ripple project. The idea of breaking a big chain into many chains, many mini chains, is something Ethereum is designing too with their approach to sharding. This isn't being done for interoperability though, as much as it is for scaling. So, in summary, we have a lot of areas to explore, all powered by this wonderful new blockchain stuff. And although security tokens, crypto assets and others may be interesting, my money is on the real progress that platforms and cryptocurrencies are bringing. You should be really watching what Ethereum is up to daily, with exciting competition coming out through EOS and Cardano, are the two ones that you need to be understanding. But it's going to be an amazing few months that we've got coming. Really looking forward to it. But as always, please like and subscribe. That's not for me, that's to help other people find this channel, and if you've enjoyed this content, maybe they will too. If you want me to cover something specific, tell me in the comments or DM me, and I'll cover that in the next few weeks or so. I'll see you next time, which is next Tuesday. Take care, guys.